I should have known something was wrong when I saw the crowd in the lobby. 23 floors up in this glass tower that pretends to be luxury but feels like a corporate prison, and there's never anyone in the lobby except Mrs. Chen walking her ancient poodle. But tonight? Tonight looked like Black Friday at Best Buy. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name's Jonas Mitchell. I'm 37 years old, and I design bridges for a living. Not glamorous, but it pays the bills and keeps me grounded in reality. Something my wife Camilla never quite grasped during our 5 years of marriage. I pushed through the crowd, exhausted from another 14-hour day trying to make timeline on the Riverside project. My phone had been buzzing all afternoon, but I'd ignored it. Big mistake. "Excuse me, is this your apartment?" Officer Martinez stepped in front of me, his hand resting casually on his radio. "What apartment?" I pulled out my keys, confused by the drilling sounds echoing from the 21st floor. "I live in 21B. Why?" That's when I heard it. Camilla's voice, amplified and theatrical, drifting down the stairwell like smoke from a dumpster fire. "This is what happens when you take a strong woman for granted. Ladies, are you watching? This is how we take back our power." I took the stairs 3 at a time, Officer Martinez trailing behind me. The hallway was packed. Mrs. Goldstein from 21A stood in her doorway clutching her cat. The college kids from 21C were filming with their phones. And there, center stage in front of my apartment door, was my wife. Camilla had her phone mounted on a tripod, ring light blazing like she was hosting The Tonight Show. Her blonde hair was perfectly curled, her makeup camera ready, and she wore the red dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. The locksmith, a skinny guy who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else, was drilling out our deadbolt. 18,000 viewers and counting, Camilla announced to her phone. "This is what real empowerment looks like, ladies. When your man stops appreciating you, when he works late every night and treats you like furniture, you don't cry about it. You change the locks." The comments were flying across her screen faster than I could read them. Heart emojis, fire emojis, "Yes, queen," over and over again. I stood there for a full 30 seconds, watching my marriage end in high definition. Then I started laughing. Not a happy laugh. The kind of laugh that bubbles up from somewhere dark and bitter, the kind that makes people step back and wonder if you've finally snapped. "Ma'am," Officer Martinez said, approaching Camilla with the careful tone cops use for drunk college girls and armed suspects. "We need to talk." Camilla spun around, and for just a moment, her Instagram smile faltered. "Jonas, perfect timing. Say goodbye to your bachelor pad, honey. This is my apartment now." "Actually," I said, pulling out my lease agreement, "it's not." I handed the document to Officer Martinez. His eyebrows went up as he scanned it. "Ma'am, this lease is only in Mr. Mitchell's name. You don't have legal right to change these locks." The drilling stopped. The locksmith looked up nervously. Lady, you said this was your place." Camilla's face went through about 6 different expressions in 2 seconds. Confusion, anger, panic, then back to her camera-ready smile. But I could see the calculation behind her eyes. She was trapped, live on Instagram, with 18,000 witnesses. "That's just a technicality," she said, her voice getting higher. "We're married. What's his is mine." "Actually," Officer Martinez said, "that's not how tenant law works in this state." I stepped closer to the camera, giving my best smile to Camilla's audience. "Hi there, Instagram, I'm the husband. Just got home from work to find my wife trying to illegally lock me out of my own apartment. Isn't that cute?" The comments exploded. Half were laughing emojis, half were angry faces. Camilla's viewer count was climbing, but not in the way she wanted. "Sir, I need to ask you to step away from the camera," Officer Martinez said. "Of course." I moved back, but kept talking. Camilla, sweetheart, I think your followers deserve to know the truth. Should I tell them about Eric? The color drained from her face. Eric Hoffman, her social media manager, a 40-year-old wannabe influencer with perfect teeth and a Tesla he couldn't afford. I'd suspected for months, but seeing her reaction confirmed everything. Jonas, don't you dare! Or should I tell them about the credit card statements, the hotel charges, the business trips that weren't for business? Turn off the camera, she hissed. But she couldn't. Not with 18,000 people watching. Not when this was supposed to be her moment of triumph. Officer Martinez was talking to his radio. More cops were coming. The locksmith was packing up his tools, clearly wanting no part of whatever this was becoming. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step away from the door. This is harassment. Camilla's voice cracked. He's abusive. He's controlling. This is why I had to take action. I pulled out my phone and started recording. For the record, I've never laid a hand on my wife, but I did pay for this apartment. I do pay all the bills, and I do have the legal right to live here. Camilla, you have 30 seconds to get your stuff and leave, or Officer Martinez here is going to arrest you for trespassing. The crowd in the hallway was getting bigger. Someone was live streaming on TikTok. Mrs. Goldstein was providing running commentary to someone on her phone. This was turning into the kind of neighborhood drama that would be talked about for years. Camilla looked at her phone screen, at the comments flying by, at the viewer count that was now over 25,000. Her moment of empowerment was becoming a public humiliation. This isn't over, she said, grabbing her purse and ring light. Actually, it is. I smiled at her camera one more time. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching the end of my marriage. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Camilla's stream cut off abruptly. She pushed through the crowd, her heels clicking angrily on the tile floor. The locksmith handed me a bill for $300. She said she'd pay me, he mumbled. I looked at the ruined lock, at the crowd of neighbors, at Officer Martinez writing up his report. My marriage was over, my privacy was destroyed, and I was probably going to be a meme by morning. But for the first time in months, I felt something like satisfaction. 3 days later, I was famous. Not good famous. Internet famous. The kind of famous that makes baristas snicker when they see your credit card name. Lockout Husband was trending on Twitter. Someone had edited the video with dramatic music and posted it on YouTube. It had 500,000 views. The comments were split between people calling me a hero and people calling me an abuser. I was sitting in Malik's boxing gym, nursing a protein shake and trying to pretend I wasn't checking my phone every 30 seconds. Malik Washington had been my friend since college, back when we were both broke engineering students who thought we'd change the world. Now he owned this gym in the old part of town, training kids and listening to middle-aged men complain about their lives. You look like hell, Malik said, dropping onto the bench beside me. He was built like a linebacker, all shoulders and attitude, but he had the kindest eyes I'd ever seen. Feel worse. I showed him my phone. Look at this. The screen showed Camilla's latest Instagram post. She was sitting in what looked like a coffee shop, tears streaming down her perfectly contoured cheeks. The caption read, "When you escape an abusive marriage and the internet attacks you for being brave, thank you to everyone sending love and support. Your messages are keeping me strong." Survivor story, or empowerment, truth teller. It had 12,000 likes and counting. She's good, Malik said. I'll give her that, playing the victim card like a pro. She's destroying me. I scrolled through the comments. Half were supportive of Camilla, half were calling her out for the illegal lockout, but all of them were talking about my personal life like it was a Netflix series. Nah, man, she's destroying herself. You just don't see it yet. My phone buzzed. A text from my boss. Need to talk. My office, Monday morning. Perfect. Now I'm probably getting fired too. Malik grabbed my phone and tossed it in his gym bag. Forget that noise for a minute. Tell me what you're really thinking. I leaned back against the wall, feeling the weight of the last 72 hours. I keep thinking about the hotel receipts I found. The Marriott downtown, every Thursday for 3 months. She told me she was doing yoga classes. Thursday night yoga, right. And the credit card bills, dinners for 2 at restaurants I'd never been to, lingerie charges from Victoria's Secret, stuff I never saw her wear. My voice was getting harder, angrier. She was planning this whole thing, the lockout, the social media drama, all of it. You think she wanted to get caught? I think she wanted content. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. She's a micro-influencer, right? 20,000 followers, barely making rent from sponsored posts. But drama sells. Relationship drama especially. She turned our divorce into a brand opportunity. Malik was quiet for a long moment. So what are you going to do about it? What can I do? She's got the sympathy vote. I'm the evil husband who locked his poor wife out of her own home. Never mind that it wasn't her home to begin with. Jonas, you're thinking like an engineer, all facts and logic. But this isn't about facts. This is about narrative. And right now, she's controlling the story. Before I could ask what he meant, my phone rang from inside his gym bag. Malik fished it out and handed it to me. Unknown number. Jonas Mitchell? This is Detective Sarah Kim with the Domestic Violence Unit. We need to talk. About what? Your wife filed a report yesterday. Claims of emotional abuse, financial control, intimidation. Can you come in tomorrow morning? I looked at Malik, who was shaking his head in disgust. Detective, I've never touched my wife, never threatened her. I have witnesses, I have video. Sir, I understand this is stressful, but we have to investigate all reports. Can you come in voluntarily, or do I need to send a car? I'll be there. I hung up and stared at the phone. Camilla wasn't just playing victim on social media. She was trying to get me arrested. She's smart, I said quietly. File a police report, establish a paper trail, make me look like the aggressor. Even if the charges don't stick, it ruins my reputation forever. Or, Malik said, she just made her first real mistake. How do you figure? Because now there's going to be an actual investigation, with real cops asking real questions. And cops don't care about Instagram followers or ring lights or whatever narrative she's trying to sell. They care about evidence. He was right. I'd been so focused on the social media circus that I'd forgotten something important. I hadn't done anything wrong. I had proof. I had witnesses. I had that beautiful, damning video of her trying to illegally lock me out of my own apartment. I need a lawyer, I said. You need more than that. Malik stood up and started wrapping his hands for the heavy bag. You need to stop playing defense and start playing offense. What do you mean? I mean, she declared war, Jonas. She just doesn't know you're going to win it. I watched him start working the bag, each punch landing with mechanical precision. Malik had been a Golden Gloves boxer before he got into engineering, and he still moved like violence was just another tool in his toolbox. I'm not like you, Malik. I don't know how to fight dirty. Then you better learn fast, because clean fighting is for people who can afford to lose. That night, I sat in my apartment, with my name on the lease, and made a list. Not a to-do list, a target list. Camilla had allies. Eric, obviously. Her best friend Zoe, who enabled every bad decision and probably helped plan this whole thing. Her social media followers, who were eating up the victim story without asking questions. But she also had vulnerabilities. The illegal lockout, caught on camera. The hotel receipts I'd photographed before she could destroy them. The fake business expenses she'd been claiming on her taxes. And she had one weakness that was going to destroy her. She couldn't stop performing. Every victim post, every tearful video, every dramatic story was creating more evidence of her manipulation. She was so addicted to the attention that she couldn't see how transparent she was becoming. I opened my laptop and started typing. Not an angry rant or a defensive explanation. A timeline. Dates, receipts, screenshots, witness statements, everything organized and documented like the engineering reports I wrote for work. If Camilla wanted to play games, I'd show her what happened when you challenge someone who built bridges for a living. I knew how to find the weak points in any structure, and I was about to bring hers down. Detective Sarah Kim looked like she'd seen every kind of domestic drama the city had to offer. Mid-40s, gray streaks in her black hair, eyes that missed nothing. Her office smelled like coffee and disappointment. Mr. Mitchell, I've reviewed your wife's complaint. She alleges financial abuse, emotional manipulation, and intimidation tactics. She opened a manila folder. She also provided screenshots of threatening text messages. I never sent her any threatening messages. These are from your phone number. She slid 3 printed screenshots across the desk. Quote, "You'll regret this." Quote, "I'll make sure everyone knows what you really are." Quote, "This isn't over." I studied the images. They looked real, but something was off about the formatting. Detective, can I see the metadata on these? The timestamps? Why? Because I'm an engineer. I notice details. I pulled out my phone. These messages were supposedly sent last Thursday at 2:47 p.m., 3:15 p.m., and 3:33 p.m. But look. I showed her my phone's message history with Camilla. The conversation ended 2 weeks ago, with me asking her to pick up milk on her way home. She could have deleted your messages, Detective Kim said, but her tone had shifted slightly. She could have, or she could have faked them. I opened my laptop bag. Detective, I brought documentation. Bank statements, lease agreements, hotel receipts, and something else I think you'll find interesting. I handed her a USB drive. Security footage from my apartment building. The night of the lockout incident, and every night for the past 3 months. You'll notice that my wife left the building every Thursday at 6 p.m. and didn't return until after midnight, for 12 consecutive weeks. Detective Kim plugged the drive into her computer. We watched in silence as the timestamp showed Camilla leaving the building, always dressed up, always carrying an overnight bag. Where was she going? The Marriott downtown, room 412, every Thursday, sometimes Fridays too. I handed her the credit card statements. These charges are from her personal card, the one I'm not on. But notice the pattern. Hotel room, dinner for 2, room service the next morning. You think she was having an affair? I know she was having an affair. With Eric Hoffman, her social media manager. But that's not the interesting part. I pulled up Eric's Instagram account on my phone. Look at his posts from the past 3 months. Every Friday morning he posts these motivational quotes about living your best life and taking what you deserve, always from the same location tag, the Marriott downtown. Detective Kim was taking notes now. Mr. Mitchell, adultery isn't a crime in this state. No, but fraud is, and so is filing a false police report. I opened another folder. Eric Hoffman is married, has been for 8 years. His wife Jennifer works as a nurse at City General. She has no idea about the affair, but she's about to. Mr. Mitchell, I'm not finished. I was getting momentum now, feeling like I was presenting a case to the city planning committee. Camilla's been claiming business expenses for these hotel stays, writing them off as content creation and business meetings. But she's been using them to meet her boyfriend. That's tax fraud. Detective Kim leaned back in her chair. You've been busy. I've been thorough. There's more. I pulled up Camilla's Instagram analytics on my laptop. She's been buying fake followers. Bots, engagement farms, the whole thing. Most of her sponsors don't know they're paying for artificial engagement. That's fraud too. Why are you telling me this instead of just filing for divorce? The question hung in the air for a moment. Why was I doing this? A week ago, I would have said it was about justice, about truth, about protecting myself from false accusations. But sitting in that sterile office, looking at months of evidence spread across the desk, I realized the real reason. Because she tried to destroy me for content, I said quietly. She turned our marriage into a social media stunt. She filed false charges to boost her victim narrative. She's not just lying about me, detective. She's lying about domestic violence, and that makes it harder for real victims to be believed. Detective Kim studied me for a long moment. Mr. Mitchell, I'm going to ask you directly. Have you ever hit your wife? No. Threatened her? Not until she tried to lock me out of my own apartment. And even then, my threats were legal, not physical. Controlled her financially? I paid the bills because I made more money. She had her own accounts, her own credit cards, her own income. I never restricted her access to anything. Detective Kim closed the folder. Mr. Mitchell, based on what I'm seeing here, I don't think we'll be pursuing charges against you. But I have to ask, what do you want to happen to your wife? It was a fair question. What did I want? A week ago, I would have said I just wanted my life back. But now, looking at the evidence of months of deception and manipulation, I wanted something else. I wanted her to face consequences. I want her to be investigated for filing a false report. I want the IRS to audit her business expenses. And I want her affair partner's wife to know the truth. Mr. Mitchell, I can handle the false report investigation. The IRS is out of my jurisdiction, but you can file a complaint with them directly. As for the affair, she paused. That's a personal matter. Of course. I packed up my documents. Detective, one more thing. My wife is addicted to social media attention. She's going to keep escalating this situation to generate more content. When she does, I want it on record that I tried to resolve this through proper channels. Noted. I left the police station feeling lighter than I had in weeks. Not because I was off the hook. I'd never really been on it, but because I'd finally stopped playing defense. That afternoon, I did 3 things. First, I called Jennifer Hoffman. Eric's wife answered on the second ring, her voice tired from a long shift at the hospital. Mrs. Hoffman, you don't know me, but I need to tell you something about your husband. The conversation lasted 20 minutes. By the end of it, Jennifer was crying, but she was also thanking me. Second, I filed a complaint with the IRS, complete with documentation of Camilla's fraudulent business expense claims. Third, I posted on Instagram for the first time in 2 years. Just a simple message. Truth has a way of coming out. Stay tuned. Within an hour, it had 300 likes and 50 comments. People were hungry for my side of the story. But I wasn't ready to tell it yet. I was still gathering evidence. Because Malik was right about one thing. Camilla had declared war. And I was about to show her what happened when you picked a fight with someone who built things that were designed to last. Eric's Tesla was parked outside Zoe's apartment complex when I arrived Thursday evening. I'd been tracking his movements for a week, and he was predictable as clockwork. Thursdays were his night with Camilla, but since she couldn't use hotels anymore, her credit cards were maxed out. They'd moved the party to her best friend's place. I sat in my truck across the street, watching the second-floor windows. The lights were on, shadows moving behind the curtains, probably planning their next move, their next social media campaign, their next attempt to paint me as the villain. My phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer Hoffman. Divorce papers served today. Thank you for telling me the truth. Good. One domino down. At 11:47 p.m., Eric came out of the building. He looked around nervously before walking to his car, like he knew someone was watching. Which he should have, because I'd been making myself visible for the past few days. Not threatening, just present. At the coffee shop where he got his morning latte. At the gym where he pretended to work out. In the parking lot of his office building. I wanted him paranoid. Paranoid people make mistakes. Eric got in his Tesla and drove off. I waited another 10 minutes, then walked up to the building. The security door was propped open with a brick. College neighborhood, nobody worried about safety. I climbed to the second floor and knocked on apartment 2B. Zoe answered the door in a silk robe, her hair messy, makeup smeared. Behind her, I could see Camilla on the couch, wearing one of Eric's shirts, and nothing else. "Jonas?" Zoe's voice was sharp with surprise. "What are you doing here?" "We need to talk." I stepped into the apartment without waiting for an invitation. All of us. Camilla scrambled to cover herself with a throw pillow. "You can't just barge in here. This is harassment." "Actually, this is a conversation." I sat down in the chair across from her, making myself comfortable. "About your little performance last week. About Eric. About the lies you've been telling." "Get out," Zoe said, but she didn't move to call the police or push me toward the door. She was curious. "Did you know Eric is married, Zoe?" I pulled out my phone and showed her a photo from his Facebook page. Eric and Jennifer at their wedding, both smiling, both young, both apparently happy. 8 years, no kids yet, but they've been trying. Jennifer told me all about it when I called her. The color drained from Camilla's face. "You didn't." "I did. Turns out she's been wondering why Eric was working so many late nights, why he was spending so much money on business expenses, why he kept his phone face down at dinner." I smiled. "She's filing for divorce, taking half his assets, including that Tesla he's so proud of." Zoe sat down hard on the couch next to Camilla. "Jesus, Camilla, you said he was separated." "He is separated, now." Camilla's voice was defensive, but I could see the panic in her eyes. "Jonas, you had no right." "I had every right. You tried to destroy my life for Instagram content. You filed false police reports. You committed fraud." I leaned forward. "Did you really think I was going to just take it?" "You're bluffing." I pulled out a manila envelope and set it on the coffee table. "Hotel receipts, credit card statements, screenshots of your tax filings where you claimed those hotel stays as business expenses. And my personal favorite," I pulled out a printed email. "A message from Instagram's fraud department. Turns out they don't like it when people buy fake followers and engagement. Your account is being reviewed for suspension." Camilla grabbed the email, her hands shaking. "This isn't real. Check your account." She fumbled for her phone, fingers flying over the screen. Her face went white. They can't do this. This is my business. This is how I make money." "Not anymore." I stood up. "Camilla, you had 18,000 people watching you try to illegally lock me out of my apartment. You thought it made you look strong, but all it did was create evidence of your crimes." "What crimes?" Zoe was looking between us like she was watching a tennis match. "Trespassing, vandalism, filing false police reports, tax fraud, and that's just the beginning." I looked directly at Camilla. "Did you know that when you buy fake followers, you're technically committing wire fraud? It's a federal crime. The FBI handles cases like that." I was bluffing about the FBI, but Camilla didn't know that. She was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks, looking nothing like the confident influencer who'd performed for the cameras a week ago. "What do you want?" she whispered. "I want you to disappear." My voice was calm, reasonable. "I want you to stop posting about me. Stop telling lies about our marriage. Stop playing victim for attention." "And if I don't?" I smiled. "Then I release the rest of the evidence. The hotel security footage of you and Eric, the recordings of your phone calls where you planned the lockout stunt, the screenshots of your messages with Zoe where you laughed about destroying that boring asshole husband for content." Zoe's mouth fell open. "Camilla, you said—" "Shut up, Zoe." Camilla's mask was finally slipping. The sweet victim act was gone, replaced by something uglier. "Jonas, you bastard. You recorded my private conversations?" "I documented everything. Like I said, I'm an engineer. I'm thorough." I headed for the door, then turned back. "Oh, and Camilla? Eric's not coming back. Jennifer cleaned out their joint accounts this afternoon. He's broke, unemployed, and about to be homeless. Still think he's worth it?" I left them there, Camilla crying and Zoe staring at her like she was seeing her friend for the first time. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. Camilla's Instagram account had been suspended. Eric had been fired from his job. Apparently, his boss didn't appreciate the negative publicity, and someone had leaked the hotel security footage to a gossip blog. I hadn't leaked it, but I wasn't surprised someone else had. In the age of social media, secrets don't stay secret for long. I made coffee and checked the news. The story was spreading. Influencer's revenge backfires spectacularly. The lockout that locked her out. When social media stunts go wrong. My phone rang. Malik. "You see the news?" he asked. "Hard to miss. How do you feel?" I thought about it. How did I feel? A week ago, I'd been humiliated, angry, desperate to clear my name. Now Camilla was facing real consequences for her actions, and I was being painted as the wronged husband who'd fought back. "I feel like I won," I said. "Good, because it's not over yet." "What do you mean?" "Check your email." I opened my laptop. At the top of my inbox was a message from a literary agent in New York. Subject line, "Book deal?" They want me to write a book? About the whole thing, the marriage, the lockout, the investigation, all of it. Apparently, wronged husband stories are hot right now. I stared at the email. 6 months ago, I was an anonymous engineer in a failing marriage. Now I was being offered a book deal. "Malik, this is insane." "This is justice, my friend. She tried to use you for content, and now you're going to make money off her story." I looked out my apartment window at the city below. Somewhere out there, Camilla was probably planning her next move, her next attempt to control the narrative. But she'd made one crucial mistake. She'd picked a fight with someone who knew how to build things that last. And I was just getting started. 3 weeks later, I was standing on the roof of my apartment building, looking down at the parking garage where Eric's repossessed Tesla used to sit. The view from up here was incredible. You could see the whole city, all the bridges I'd helped design, all the structures that would outlast the people who built them. My phone buzzed. Another interview request, this one from a podcast with 2 million subscribers. Ever since the story went viral, everyone wanted to talk to the lockout husband, the man who'd turned his cheating wife's social media stunt into her public downfall. But I wasn't interested in fame. I was interested in closure. The rooftop door opened behind me. I turned, expecting to see Mrs. Goldstein walking her poodle, but instead saw Camilla. She looked terrible. No makeup, hair unwashed, wearing sweatpants and a hoodie. Nothing like the polished influencer who'd performed for 18,000 viewers. "We need to talk," she said. "I don't think we do." I didn't move from my spot by the ledge. "You're trespassing again. Should I call the police?" "Please." Her voice cracked. 5 minutes. I studied her face. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something that looked like desperation. "Talk." I lost everything. She sat down on one of the concrete planters, wrapping her arms around herself. "My Instagram account, my sponsors, my income. Zoe won't return my calls. Eric moved back in with his mother in Ohio. I'm living in a studio apartment in the worst part of town, working at a coffee shop for minimum wage." "Good." She flinched like I'd slapped her. "Jonas, I know I hurt you. I know I made mistakes. But this is destroying me." "You destroyed yourself." I turned to face her fully. "You had a choice, Camilla. When our marriage started falling apart, you could have talked to me. You could have suggested counseling. You could have asked for a divorce like a normal person. Instead, you decided to humiliate me on the internet for views. I was angry. You were performing. Everything was content to you. Our fights, our problems, our entire relationship. You turned our divorce into entertainment." Tears were streaming down her face now, but I felt nothing. No sympathy, no regret, no desire to comfort her. She'd burned that bridge when she pointed a camera at our private life. "What do you want me to do?" she whispered. "I want you to disappear. I want you to stop trying to contact me, stop posting about me, Stop trying to salvage your reputation by rewriting history. I pulled out my phone and showed her the screen. I have a book deal now. A real publisher, a real advance, a real opportunity to tell the true story of what happened. Your version of events is about to become irrelevant. Her face went white. You can't. The things you'll say about me will be true. Every word, documented and verified. I smiled. You taught me something valuable, Camilla. You taught me that narrative matters, and now I control the narrative. She stood up abruptly, anger flashing in her eyes. For a moment, I saw the real Camilla, the one who'd planned the lockout stunt and filed false police reports and laughed about destroying her boring husband for content. You think you won? She snarled. You think you're some kind of hero? You're just a pathetic man who couldn't keep his wife happy. Maybe. But I'm a pathetic man with a book deal, a clean reputation, and a life that doesn't revolve around Instagram likes. I stepped closer. You know what the difference between us is, Camilla? What? I build things that last. Bridges, buildings, relationships with people who matter. You built a house of cards on a foundation of lies, and you're surprised it collapsed. She stared at me for a long moment, then turned and walked toward the door. But she stopped before opening it. I loved you, she said quietly. At the beginning, I really did love you. I know. I loved you too. I looked out over the city again. But love wasn't enough for you. You needed an audience. After she left, I stayed on the roof for another hour, watching the sun set over the bridges I'd helped build. My phone was full of messages, interview requests, congratulations from friends, updates from my lawyer about Camilla's ongoing legal troubles. But the message that mattered most was from Jennifer Hoffman. Thank you for telling me the truth. Eric signed the divorce papers today. I'm finally free. I smiled and put the phone away. Tomorrow, I'd start writing the book. I'd tell the whole story, the marriage, the affair, the lockout, the investigation, the aftermath. I'd tell it honestly, without trying to make myself look like a hero or Camilla look like a monster. Because the truth was complicated. I'd been a neglectful husband, working too much and paying too little attention. Camilla had been lonely and desperate for validation. In a different world, we might have worked through our problems. But in this world, she'd chosen performance over privacy, content over character, followers over family, and I'd chosen to fight back. The city lights were coming on below me, millions of people living their lives without cameras or audiences or the need to turn every moment into content. Real people with real problems and real relationships. I walked to the door, ready to go back to my apartment, back to my real life. But I paused for one last look at the view. Somewhere out there, Camilla was probably posting on whatever social media platform would still have her, trying to rebuild her brand, trying to find a new angle for her story. But her story was over. The audience had moved on. The internet had found new drama to obsess over. And I had won. Not because I'd destroyed her, she'd done that herself, but because I'd refused to be destroyed. I'd built something that lasted.